It's been a while since we've talked to Janna Keihl with the Better Business Bureau. I wanted to bring her back in here today because of all of the weather that we've seen. It's important to keep in mind when you're trying to rebuild after this storm damage. You hear us talk about this a lot. What should you do? What should you be on the lookout if you're hiring a contractor to get to work on that home? She's the expert. We've dealt with this time and time again. This last storm, especially our friends down in Canyon, got hit especially hard.
Right. You know, a lot of areas throughout the Panhandle did get hit hard. And, you know, we were there trying to make sure that consumers knew, like you said, what to do. Where do they go? What's their first stop? And we really encourage them to make that BBB.org or to call us, because then they'll know who they should do business with, and they'll know up front how to avoid all the tactics that might be at their doorstep.
Okay, so let's talk about these tactics. They're tried and true. They've been working for a long time. Yes. What do people need to look for?
Well, they need to look for the sign of a better business. Accredited businesses, of course, will have that as their advertisement. They need to do business with accredited businesses because they're vetted by BBB. We take time to look up their licensing, to look up their longevity in the community, to make sure they're responsive to their customers. So all this work is done ahead of time for the consumer so that they are able to have a place to get this information easily, readily available on our website 24 hours a day, and they can look that up before they're victims of a storm if they think storms are coming, or after they've been victimized by a storm. You know, make sure they're doing business with a reputable company, a good local company, someone who we know.
And you have that all there on your website. Yes. They don't, I mean, in an age where everybody is doing their own little investigative reporting online where they're checking it out and they're looking things up, just head over to your website because you've got it listed. You've got everything listed.
We do. They can look them up by a list. So if they're looking for siding contractors, they can put that in there and get all of the accredited businesses that are siding contractors. If they're looking for a specific company like XYZ Siding Company, then they can go there and look up that company's specific report to see what their rating is, A+ through F, just like in school. You want to look for those good rated companies. If a company has a D or an F rating, that's a warning. Don't do business with them, regardless of their promises to you know, be very cost effective or to have you sign anything up front. You know, it all sounds good at the door, especially if you're in need and your house is in disrepair. Right. You know, I mean, you want somebody right then and there, and you're anxious, and you know it's an emotional situation. But you want to take the time. You can make temporary repairs, and then take the time to really research a company.
I think most people get paranoid because all of a sudden it happens and they feel like the clock is ticking. It's really not. You can slow down, do your homework to make that decision, because we're talking about thousands of dollars potentially on the line here.
You know, there are tens of thousands of dollars. It depends whether it's a roof, whether it's got, you know, your siding, windows, even the yard work. You know, fencing and shrubs and things like that that are outside that need to be cleaned up and properly maintained. So not just during, you know, that storm or after that storm, but anytime. It is summertime. Right. It is time for these contractors to be out there and for you to be out there doing your projects and improving your home as well. So, you know, the BBB website is free. It's available. It's fast, and it's something that consumers can really count on.
And if somebody is pressuring you into making that decision today, let's do it today. First of all, take a deep breath. Say, I'll get back to you. Do your homework. Go over to the Better Business Bureau website. Take a look at those accredited businesses and do businesses with the right one.
And you know, if they don't have access to online, they can just call us.
Great. All right, Janna, we appreciate it as always. Up next, we've got a preview of the latest Walk with the Doc event happening here in Emerald. We'll learn how you can get your steps in while learning. Keep it here.